Zvakanaka kurongeka. Zvakanaka kurongeka. Zvakanaka kurongeka. Zvakanaka kurongeka. Kurongeka kurongeka. Kurongeka kurongeka. Kurongeka kurongeka. Kurongeka kurongeka. Madzimai kurongeka. Kurongeka kurongeka. Kurongeka kurongeka. Kurongeka kurongeka. Our chief director, who is doing a wonderful job as the director of ceremonies. Munoazia vesa menupa introduce ko pamana introduce chief director Lidin Takaendesa Masike. You will be seeing a lot. We also have another chief director. Tinoada vesa Mawasia Mate asina basa now. Oh, okay. Tina chief director Gondo. We move with our men. As time we move with our men, the issues of women empowerment have got to bring everybody on board, because these are issues of economic empowerment. These are issues which will make the economy of this country develop. So it's just not about women alone. We have got a lot of gender champions, and we are happy we are moving together very nicely. My Honorable Senator Mboa, my dear little sister, we've worked together for a very long time. She's very passionate about women empowerment, and I'm very happy that she's leading the Women Parliamentary Caucus at Parliament, and I think together we'll go very far. We want to move forward. I also want to honor our officials from Line Ministries. You know, it's just not about the whole government approach, because this is what we are always talking about. We will succeed if we have got this whole government approach. We will succeed without silo mentality. We will succeed as a group, because we've got a great impact. So it's just not the whole government approach here, but the whole society approach. And that way we will deal with these multifaceted problems of gender inequality. So we are happy you are here. Dr. Makonese, I can't thank you enough, ably representing the UN Women Country Rep. You work with us all the time. We don't take it for granted. We are really appreciative for the support and help, and all the other CSOs who are here. It's actually my pleasure to stand in front of women I've worked with for a very long time. Very passionate about women empowerment issues. Very passionate about making sure that we eliminate gender-based violence in this country. Passionate about making sure that there's no child marriage in this country. Passionate to make sure that our women, we don't leave any women behind, no place. Every woman of Zimbabwe matters. We need to move with them. And I want to say, when I look around the room, I say I am in the right place. I have the right support. I have got women who have got, women and men who know so much about what needs to be done. And I always say, when I got this job, I say, let's take stock of what we've done all these years and say to ourselves, why is it that with so much effort and work, we still continue to see a lot of gender-based violence? The numbers still continue going up. We continue to see child marriages. And I think 2-3 days ago, together with a lot of you as a ministry, we launched that strategy, the national strategy for prevention. Because sometimes you can't wait to deal with gender-based violence victims. We need to go down and look at the causes of all these evils and say we'll deal with that. There are many reasons, patriarchal, traditional, many. But I think the biggest one is poverty, the source of problems. No woman would dare walk out of an abusive marriage if she's not sure should be able to get help if she's not sure how she's going to look after her children. We are seeing women suffering in abusive marriages, some of them being killed, some of them maimed, some of their children being given away for marriage. And we're saying together, let's work on prevention.
Yeah.
I am still saluting you. I like to talk off cuff. I know there are other UN family members here who are here, development partners, esteemed media. You are a powerful call as we move to fight this scourge. Because the message is to go out there. I said when I got this job to my staff, there is a lot of work which the Ministry of Women Affairs has always been doing, and we continue to do that job together with you, the women movement. But if that work is not visible, if that work is not being known or seen by every woman in this country and everyone, and boys too, and the other men who are being abused, then we are not doing enough. We really need to make a lot of noise together so that this information trickles down to each and every woman, no matter where they are, so that they know, oh, so there are some people there who can help me. I can get legal service. I can get police service. I can get support services in terms of safe shelters. I can really get out and my children can be looked after. I can continue to have to work hard, to be given an opportunity to work for my children. So these are the things we need to make a lot of noise about. And when we do that, then there is no one in our society who remain thinking that whenever you talk about women empowerment, it's a women issue. Let everyone, whether it's a chief, traditional chiefs, our religious leaders, let them understand that there is power in bringing up a family in a free violence home. Let a boy child, we are the mothers who bring up boys, let them understand the importance of making sure that there is no machoism in fighting or in bashing a woman. So these are the things we say we need to move together. Yeah, the other day I listened to something which I thought it was powerful. And I think as we go to CSW, this is something to think about. There's a Zambian chief who in Zambia has said, any man who bashes his wife, you have desecrated my land. And as such, you pay heavy fine. And when that heavy fine is paid, it's not being put into chief's home as his own. He created a fund so that what is paid, the penalties, they are put in a fund which will then help victims of gender-based violence in his community. I had something to think about. I thought that was really good. So I'm happy to have you all here. Names of people who have worked so hard, who continue to work hard. And again, Ekenia Chfamba, Shamarivana, Whips, we've come a long, long way. Yeah? These are people who I've known for a very long time, working so hard to empower women. When we went through our constitution making process, we saw this women movement working together with COPAC. I was one of the co-chairs of that constitutional making process, the drivers of 25 members of parliament. And I saw you working hard. And I said to myself, my results are to now and Twitter say kutitawa and my results. My mentee, when did you start? I see you have a grown-up woman. Masha among my lovely girl, Musasa Project, the amount of work you have been doing, Women Coalition, the amount of work we are doing together, Institute of Women Social Work, Ziwala, SHR, hashtag what, What we have been doing, you and women, the amount of work you have been doing, driving the women to understand issues, driving women who went into parliament through quota, not just to be seen, but to be heard, so that they are speaking the issues which will change the lives of our people, which will make the economy of this country develop. We have been working, it has been a long way. It is time we take stock. We do, and one of the things I've discovered that we like to fragment our efforts. Fragmented efforts will not get us where we want to go. Let's work together, because when we work together, there is no duplication of efforts and also duplication of resources. So I'm appealing to you as your minister in charge of women affairs, community, SMEs development. I will do our collaboration. We will work with you. We know the importance of working with each and every one of you. We know how far we can go. With all that experience you have, if you sit there, and many others who are out there. I was talking to Lydia Gomo the other day. She came to my office and I said, look, yes, I'm here. I'm the Minister of Women Affairs, but it doesn't necessarily mean I know everything which needs to be done to fight this scourge of gender-based violence, child marriages, and to make sure that women are empowered. We need to put ideas on the table, and this is why my office is open for each and everyone, because I do respect you in your own, so individually and collectively we can go very far. I really want to thank you. Ana mama Edna masiwa wagi takatangira rini. It's a long way. Let's take stock. Tongo varirana mumbaso tutaurirana kuti chisiri right chacho ndechipi panoda kugadzirika ndepapi tofamba zvakanaka. I want to thank the banks, AFDB. I want to thank my CEO from the Zimbabwe Women Microfinance Bank. You know, this is a bank which was solely created to make sure that it empowers women. We know women historically didn't have means of production, they were behind in terms of money, and women that don't have collateral. Takanzwa tiri kuwaona mukadzi aiti imba Edward, badza ndera Edward, vana ndeva Edward. Tikati changu chandinacho pano chi, you know. And so the government, in its cleverness, created the Zimbabwe Women Microfinance Bank, so that at least we can give our women this affordable loans. So we are happy when you are here, you listen for yourself. The idea is to taurirana. Hapana ruziva kundomwa. So mkaya muno mchita uzodwa minister achataure chi indotodzwa imu. Yeah, so tinofamba tisi zvakanaka. My PS is looking at me because I'm supposed to read this speech. Yes, members of the media, I really salute you. These issues are issues which need to go down. They need to trickle down all the way. When I was in my last portfolio, I'm happy the Second Republic, we managed to license 14 community radio stations, and they are continuing. So let's make use of those community radios. They have a wider reach of our audience. Let's make the issues be known. Those who are CSOs who are working in certain districts, we are happy because as a ministry, we've got structures all the way to the ward level. So please work with us, let us know what you're doing, and that way we will not duplicate efforts and duplicate resources. Let's see where problems are. Yes, our problems will always be a lack of enough tools of trade, but I'm happy that Parliament, together with you, with us, we amplified our voices to make sure that issue of poverty needs to be tackled if we are going to develop this country and achieve Vision 2030. So together, we will continue to amplify issues of poverty. You said it. Thank you very much, Dr. Makonisi. I would like to welcome you all. And thank you all for coming to this very important meeting. I'm deeply humbled by your turn up in response to our invitation. This meeting was necessitated by the need to facilitate our preparations as the Zimbabwe delegation to New York and give feedback on the Africa document that came from Africa pre-CSW 68 consultative meeting. I've had an opportunity to work with you for a very long time. And my passion for women empowerment was even known by my principal. So much that even if I wasn't the Minister of Women Affairs, I was given a green route to CSW. I've attended CSW for the last 10 years in many different portfolios. And I've seen one thing as a delegation. When we go as a country, let's talk about it as a country. I'll talk about it as Africa. But as a country, if we go there united with one position and also organized, because at CSW there are so many side events. And so if we go there organized, we'll be able to say, okay, these ones will go, because we need to benchmark and also learn from other people's experiences. So we want each and everyone to go to different ones, because we don't want each one to just go there and we don't know whether the next event there's a Zimbabwean delegate there. No, we want to go as, I'm not saying we want to control you to go wherever you want to go shopping. I'm talking about what we need to achieve as a country and bring back and make sure that the beneficiaries, those are the people who work for all of us, benefit from our being at the CSW. There's a lot which happens there. So as government, I attended with my officials and others, the African Union pre-CSW meetings. The Africa pre-CSW 68, CSW, Commission on the Status of Women, this is the 68th one. The Ministerial Consultative Meeting was held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, on the 14th of November 2023. And this was preceded by experts meeting experts from all of Africa. And our experts also from the ministry went there from the 8th to the 9th of November 2023. And this is now Africa Union, which is saying, as Africa, we need to go as united as ever. We need to go with our position. What is that we want to achieve or to gain from this CSW? At that level, here we are talking about as Zimbabwe. We need to go there united. CSW, the priority theme, clearly, and I quote, accelerating the achievement of gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls by addressing poverty and strengthening institutions and financing with a gender perspective, unquote. That's the thing. So the objective of the pre-CSW meeting in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, was to review and also deliberate on and adopt the common Africa position for CSW 68. The Africa position was prepared and presented by the technical experts, and agreement was reached on how Africa will be organized to speak with one voice at this global commission on the status of women to be held in New York. The meeting, many of them, were also held to also build consensus among African countries around issues pertinent to gender equality and empowerment of women and girls, with a view to promote a unified approach and adopt a common agenda on gender equality and women empowerment, so as to inform global platforms at CSW 68. And I want to say, it's important. What are the issues? The issues of poverty, issues of HIV/AIDS, they all impact poverty, especially on women. We know climate change. The impacts of climate change are disproportionately affecting women. And the voices of women have got to be heard. So we need to go there with all that in mind. I want to say your ministry had a side event at COP28 in UAE, which was well received. But it was a full house. We just didn't have enough time. But you could see the issues which we are talking about. Most African countries and other developing countries were talking to it. Let's put money where our mouth is. COP this, COP 28, COP 26, 27, 28, and next year 28. Is there money being put so that we can mitigate the impacts of this climate change, which I have already said disproportionately affect women? So these are some of the issues which we will be talking about. The main discussions, coming back to the IU ministerial meetings, was centered on the zero draft outcome document. The ministers were expected to review the zero draft outcome report, and as Zimbabwe, because we were so, we were present. We always make ourselves present. We just don't go to have our name written in Zimbabwe. We always try to make ourselves present and make sure that our input is also put in whatever document, the outcome document. So, as Zimbabwe, we had an opportunity to put our input into the outcome document, which is the Africa Common Position, which will then be presented in New York as Africa's position pertaining to accelerating the achievement of all women and girls by addressing poverty and strengthening institutions and financing for gender equality. This outcome document will inform Africa's engagement and participation at the CSW 68. All this will be happening, which is from the 11th to the 22nd of March. Ladies and gentlemen, during the consultative meeting, I managed also to push for the issue of HIV and AIDS. And I think you've heard, we can't continue to talk. You know, sometimes when there are many other diseases now which are fashionable, I think, or topical, but we all know where we have come as a country with HIV/AIDS. The efforts which have been put by, it's a multi-societal effect, impact, which has given us very good results. But we don't have to forget, and again, who is affected more by HIV/AIDS? And that, what does it do to the woman in terms of when we talk of poverty eradication? So we had to make sure that that is put there, and the accountability also of non-state actors for financing for gender equality to be included in the Common Africa positions. Noting that HIV and AIDS was one of the pandemics that inhibited the participation of women and exacerbating issues of poverty to women, I also highlighted that as a country, we have made great strides in responding to HIV/AIDS. And Zimbabwe, at this regional level, the continental level, global level where I have attended, I've seen kuti tine zveduwo zvatagona zvatinofanirwa kucelebrata and say yes, apa takagonawo, asi hazvirevo kuti we then sit back and say apa takagona. In fact, tofanirwa tichitoramba tichirumba. Kurumba munokuziva kumanya. So on the issue of HIV, the country has really made great strides in responding to this, and we've achieved 95% targets, which is close to the target of 95. So we want to continue to see it on the agenda, issue of HIV/AIDS. Some of the recommendations that came from pre-CSW 68 meetings included, and I want to quickly read through them. Women's poverty can be understood as a process of deprivation and depletion shaped by structural inequalities in the household, labor market, and state institutions, and exacerbated by women's experience of intersectional discrimination. I'm sure you know, I don't need to go through this. All these women around in this room know what I'm talking about. It deprives women of the right to a decent standard of living. Lack of food security and nutrition. Lack of housing. Lack of quality health care and good education. Then the second one we discussed, the recommendations. The disproportionate amount of care in domestic work performed by women limits their time. Makaiona were ine madzimai pa social media vakatakura mazihuna akawanda so zvichinzi chokwadi amount of work and time we put into our lives ichi iriyo inoita kuti tite rich vakadzi ndiwo vanofanira kuti rich. The amount of work we do. Hanzi unobvunza mukadzi ane vana 8 nematwins woti hanzi unoshanda kuti handishandi. That haungamusiri anoenda kubasa kana inini chaenda ndotorespekta vanhu vanoshanda kubva kwangu because vari kuita basa guru tese titori pamabasa. So nyaya ye-unpaid care work, we need to continue to look into it in the legal framework, and so that our women can actually have more time to also join my clubs and to also go back to school for education, so that they can really at the end access decent work. Quality education also is what we want. Health care, for I'm glad the ministry is working with us. Ministry in charge of health care is here. So this deprivation can also be seen in women unequal access to land. Sure, tirikuita disaggregated data. Timboona kuti madzimai acho akapiwa menda mangani. Sure, because kuti zvinhu zvifambe pana angasiyawo 52% of the population behind. Saka tinenge tichitaura zvine musoro, hazvisi zvokuzi zvemadzimai naye. We also want our women to have more access to finance and in the construction of their ability to participate fully and meaningfully and be included in policy decision-making processes, including on issues of financing. Madzimai we, nyaya dziri kurwadza ndedzekuti after COPAC, after our constitution of 2013, which is a very good document, I call it a female document, which has got a lot of good provisions enshrined in it, talking to women empowerment and gender equality. Takatombofara nenyaya yekota increase number yemadzimai. Tikafarisisa futi president watoti extendera, because this was supposed to end in 2023, but yakaextendwa. I think there was need to do that. But what is said is actually the numbers of women going through first past the post is continuing to dwindle. And we can spend a whole day here talking about why. But we all know the bottom line is poverty. Politics is that dzinoda mari futi. Maprimary acho wana maise netambo wavo. Yeah. So again, this is an issue we need to look at, so that we've got more women in decision-making positions, we have more women in parliament. So we are grateful for that quota which was extended, because that has seen us with a little, a significant amount of women. We are also grateful that, because there are so few of us, we don't seem to see the 50-50, whether it's across public sector and even private sector. We are not seeing that, and yet the constitution is a supreme law. Everyone aripa supreme law of this country. Saka inyaya tinofanira kuramba chingotaura tichingomuvha nayo. Maybe there's need also to unpack that constitution, maybe go on road shows, so that everyone, not just women, everyone can understand this is the Bumbiro re Zimbabwe, what it says, and it has to be implemented and adhered to. So, and I go to the next one, which is, it is therefore imperative to look beyond level and growth of national output and income employment, and inflation, to address issues of well-being and human rights of people. This would require actions including measuring the value of unpaid care and domestic work to the economy. Sure, and I think we need now to work on the database. Because when you don't have data, how can you then plan? How can you then fight? So the issues of coming up with data is very important. We need also to see increasing investment in critical social infrastructure and ensuring universal access to affordable quality care services. And this is what we've all been saying together as women movement, ministry, and parliament. We work together. We want the Ministry of Health to make sure that there are clinics nearby. We want to make sure that there are schools where girls don't have to walk, or boys more than 5 kilometers. And also we know that when they avoid to walk long distances, that's when they get abused. So these are the issues which we are saying we need those critical social infrastructure and care services. Not just there, but also affordable. Then to transform the status and condition of women, there must be a recognition of the need to transform policies and services of public institutions with a view to promote transparency and access to information, strong internal policies and accountability systems. We also need to strengthen women's organizations and platforms as meaningful spaces to mobilize power, demand accountability, bringing together the voices, the expertise, and those lived experiences of women living in poverty. So, I would like to say a paper, ladies and gentlemen, taking into consideration the African context related to financing for development, gender equality, and women's rights, we agreed to set our priorities in the following areas. 1, take the appropriate social and political measures to address women's poverty by adopting gender-responsive budgeting tools and principles, increase investment in social infrastructure, as I said, health, education, social protection. We see as a ministry together with our development partners, we are building these safe places, safe markets. We want a place where our gender-based violence victims can actually come, sell their wares while their children are looked after in a properly secure creche. We also want them to make sure that there is a Musasa project there and others, the police, the legal, the counselors, the health, so that everything, every service the women get is so that we can deal with this once and for all. We need to strengthen women and girls' capabilities, to reduce and redistribute women's unpaid care and domestic work and violence against women, among others. Then we also need to contribute to reforming the financial architecture and financial processes to be gender sensitive and invest in women's rights institutions and organizations. This needs to be done through strengthening and opening spaces for women and girls living in poverty, to enable women organizing and demanding accountability from state and non-state institutions operating within the jurisdiction of the respective states. Then we also agreed that building sustainable and inclusive infrastructure and ensuring access to food and nutrition and health services, especially in situations of livelihood loss resulting from conflict, climate disaster, and humanitarian crisis. Ladies and gentlemen, as you have heard, these outcomes that came from AU, African Union, these will contribute to shaping our preparations for our participation at CSW 68 in New York. They also inform the development of new initiatives, resolutions, and strategies that will accelerate progress on gender equality and women empowerment in our country. I'm happy that as a country we have already initiated our preparations for our participation at CSW. Ndaiti kuna ambassador wedu ku New York, when I was at COP28, I called our Ambassador Chibindi, and I said, Ambassador Chibindi, we want our side events to be 5 or 6 days just after the opening. Because sometimes we do have side events when most delegates have already gone. And sometimes we end up having a room at the corner there and no one really attends them. And so he, with his experience, he promised us he would do a lot. But anyway, he's the guy who has been appointed Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs. But I'm sure he will tell his staff because we sat down with my CG and my PS and we spoke to him and he was very cooperative. We need to make sure that we register and we are sure of what we want to do so that we get maximum support from other countries. So I hope this relationship that we have built will not end after CSW 68. But I want it to continue as we endeavor to empower our women and girls in our country. We need to collectively work together as government, parliament, and UN agencies, civil society, private sector, towards the realization of empowerment and transformation of lives of our women and girls, which will make us achieve our Vision 20 is expounded by our President. I know we are going to, briefly just let you know before I end, I think that's the end of my, we are looking at having a side event just to give you a bit of what we are looking at. So Zimbabwe, we're looking at hosting 3 side events. And as follows, on the priority theme, I spoke about the priority theme. And then on the review theme, and one in collaboration with Kenya. And your minister will be panelist. So we are working hard and we want your ideas. We want you to tell us, well, let's do it this way. It will be more impactful if we do it like this. We have people here who have got a lot of experience. So let's work together on that. And this side event, the priority theme side event, which I talked about, it will be really on breaking barriers, building bridges, advancing gender equality through financial inclusion of women and girls. And this side event will showcase how Zimbabwe has embarked on strategies for women's financial inclusion. A 10-minute documentary backed by speakers, including experts in gender equality and financial inclusion, political decision makers, and civil society representatives from women-led grassroots and national organizations, international NGOs, and the private sector will be represented. So no one and no place will be left behind. Their interactions will bring out the following strategies, and this is what we hope to achieve. Institutional coordination and political commitment, supportive policy and regulatory framework, appropriate infrastructure, Zimbabwe Women Microfinance Bank, Women Development Fund and Zimbabwe Community Development Funds, women's desks and SMEs units, financial literacy programs. Then there is going to be the review theme side event, second one, and the topic there is building community resilience and social security for women and especially girls. This side event will showcase some of the initiatives and programs that have helped Zimbabwe to build resilience in women and girls to meaningfully and effectively contribute to the social and economic development of the country. Through a 10-minute long documentary and a panel discussion involving the peers, the representative of UN family, civil society, women and girls will unpack the community resilience program that empower women and girls in the achievement of gender equality. Then the side event with Kenya, this is still work in progress, so we'll be letting you know as we finalize. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just thought it's important. I think we now want to open the floor. Get back to you, Chief Director. We want to hear from you. Tell us, be open, speak without fear or favor. What makes us a better Ministry of Women Affairs will actually make us feel good to get it from you. I thank you.